So today's talk is how to deal with negative emotions. And my name is Dr. Silky Baga, and I'm a certified life and weight coach. So let's begin. I first want to thank Emily Baga. She is a budding virtual assistant for preparing this slide deck for me. So thanks, Emily. I also want to thank you guys for being here. It's a free webinar. I did say it was free, and it is free. I'm not charging you, but you are paying me with your time. You are paying me by being here for a whole hour on Tuesday, for which I'm very, very grateful. So thank you. I also want to congratulate you for being here. You are giving an hour to yourself, a much needed hour in which you need to learn about your emotional health, a topic in which we are sorely lacking all around. So thank you and congratulations for being here. And I want to make this worth your while. You are here for a whole hour, and I want you to experience at least one aha moment, one moment in which your mind is blown, one concept that you take away from here, which is like, wow, I am so glad I attended this webinar. If you do not experience an aha moment, I am going to send you a book for free, one of my favorite books by mail for free. But you will not need that because you're going to experience this aha moment. Just wait for it. And secondly, I want you to stay with me till the end. And it's a free webinar, but I'm actually going to pay you to stay with me till the end. I am offering a free 30-minute coaching session to whoever stays till the end. It's one-on-one, and it's coaching for you, coaching your mind to figure you out, free for 30 minutes, one-on-one, only and only if you stay till the entire webinar. All right, so let's get started. Here is what the talk looks like for this evening. First, I tell you a little bit about myself, and then we go into the problem. And first, I'm going to define the problem. I want to make sure we're all on the same page, what I mean by a negative emotion and what we currently do to manage a negative emotion. And then I want us to understand the problem. This is where I talk about one of my favorite topics in life coaching. This is the lure that brought me into life coaching that made me want to become a life coach. This is my mind-blowing concept. So pay attention very carefully for that aha moment. All right. Then we'll talk about the solutions on what to do so you're not using TV and food for comforts. And then I go into what life coaching actually is. And then I'm excited about telling you how to work with me. And lastly, we'll take any questions you may have. Okay, so a little bit about me. As I said, I am Dr. Silky Baga. I am a wound specialist. And what that means is I work with wounds that don't heal, like diabetic ulcers. I prevent amputations. I am also an obesity medicine specialist. And lastly, I am a doctor turned certified life and weight coach. Now, if you're anything like anyone in my life, you are wondering why the heck did I turn from being a doctor to a life coach? That's an excellent question, and I have an awesome answer for you. Why did I become a life coach? Because investing in a life coach for myself was the single most valuable investment of my life. I am not joking. It was more valuable than my car, my house, my MBA degree. Yes, I also have an MBA, and my medical degree. It was so valuable and it helped me so much. Is the single most thing in my life that brought instant return on investment. I'm still paying for my debt from student loans, but what life coaching did to me has been absolutely life changing. And so, no wonder I wanted to become a life coach and share that with others. So, I am an example of what's possible with life coaching. My life has made a total 180. I'm going after what I want to do now, and I have my own back. I'm going to go into what that means a little bit later, but I want to continue with our presentation now. So, a little disclaimer before I continue, I am in no way establishing a patient doctor relationship. I am not giving you any advice today that constitutes as medical advice. I am speaking strictly as a certified life and weight coach. So let's get started. All right, let's talk about the problem. And the way I want to do this is talking about Sarah. Once upon a time, there was a lovely lady. Her name was Sarah. She was young. She got a nice job. This was a new job. Well, she got stressed and anxious at this job. She would come home and she would seek relief from all the stress and anxiety of the day. So she looks around her house and she's like, maybe I'll try these Oreos. Maybe that'll help me feel better. And it does. She sits down, has some cookies, and she gets instant pleasure. You know what? The same thing happens the next day. She comes home stressed, she's anxious, she's overwhelmed. She sees the box of cookies again, and she has those cookies, and she feels pleasure. So this becomes a pattern. She finds comfort in food. She does it again and again and again. And now her brain associates food with comfort and it associates it as a way to avoid feeling stressed and anxious. This association in the brain becomes stronger and stronger. And pretty soon, Sarah is using food for all her negative emotions. She feels doubt, she turns to food. She feels sadness, she turns to food. She's bored, guess what? Food to the rescue. So over time, over the years, she's created this pattern in her life. Whenever she has a negative emotion, she turns to food. Food brings her instant pleasure, instant comfort. She feels good. But, and this keeps repeating. She experiences a negative emotion. She doesn't like how that emotion feels. And so she seeks comfort outside herself to feel better, to find pleasure. She does anything possible to run, hide, escape, avoid that negative emotion because she no longer likes that negative emotion. She doesn't know what to do with that negative emotion except to turn to food. And so now you can predict what happened to Sarah. She is now a lovely lady, but she is overweight. Because she kept overeating, she kept eating her negative emotions. And this is what Sarah used. She used food, but there are others who resort to other comforts and instant pleasures. There are people who binge watch television. Netflix becomes their best friend. They escape, they zone out, they tune out from their life, from their negative emotions and thoughts. There's others who overwork. They're unhappy with their life and they find pleasure in overworking. And still, there are others who overshop and overspend. Shopping brings that instant pleasure, instant gratification, instant excitement of having something new and shiny, right? And there's others who like to drink to escape their emotions. Drinking gives them that buzz where they can escape what they're feeling. So initially, Sarah is unaware that her brain has made this association. Her conclusion is simply that she likes food. She eats a lot of food because she loves food, hence, she's overweight. And because she loves food too much, she just can't lose the weight. She just likes her food. And same thing people say about shopping. I just enjoy shopping. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm perfectly happy. I just like to shop. And there's other people who say, wine's just too good. I just can't give it up. But then we become aware. We become aware of what we're doing, that we are actually using these external comforts to bring pleasure to ourselves, but we are also harming ourselves and we are creating more unhappiness and we don't know how to stop, right? Why are we doing this? We're getting instant comfort, relief, and escape. We're filling a void. We're finding instant pleasure, instant gratification, excitement. But we soon realize there's a whole slew of aftermath, that the relief is false, that it's short lived, it's temporary, it's transitory, and that we are worse off after the fact. Let me explain. So let's go back to Sarah, right? She kept eating, she kept avoiding her negative emotions, and so her health declined. She became overweight, right? The person who is shopping too much, they're wasting money, they're going into debt, right? And people who are watching too much TV, going on social media, they are wasting time and then wasted energy and just being buzzed all the time, right? And escaping. So, what else happens when we are avoiding our negative emotions, right? Sarah realizes she's overweight and she wants to lose the weight. So she promises herself she's not going to eat the cookies when she comes home. But she's feeling stressed. She doesn't know what to do with that feeling. So what does she do? She eats. But now she's disappointed in herself. She is experiencing self loathing. She is angry at herself that she ate those cookies again. So not only was she stressed and anxious to begin with, not only did she buffer, and that's the term, we buffer with food or TV or alcohol. So not only was she anxious and stressed, then she buffered to avoid that anxiety, but now she's feeling disappointment in herself. She's angry at herself, and now she's compounded her initial negative feelings with more negative feelings. So buffering actually gives us more negative consequences and more negative feelings. And the cycle just continues. It's all negative consequences. There is no gain, there is no win. It is all negative. It becomes a pattern in our life that's hard to break. We keep on repeating the same pattern, eating the same foods, watching more television, shopping more and more, and then we are guilty. We feel shameful. We feel regret. We experience self loathing, and then we are more miserable. This is a downward spiral that we keep spiraling downwards. So this affects everything. It affects the quality of our life. It affects our psyche. It affects how we show up in the world. It affects how we show up for ourselves. It affects our confidence, our self-esteem. It affects our morale. And basically, we're living a miserable life. We think we are happy because we're getting these instant pleasures here and there, but overall, there's an emptiness and we're becoming more and more miserable. So to recap, we have a negative feeling. We don't like this negative feeling. And so we buffer. And when we are buffering, yes, it brings us temporary relief. But in that buffering process, we disconnect with ourselves. We disconnect with our thoughts and our feelings. We are basically disconnecting with ourselves. And we keep repeating the cycle over and over again. So, this is what we've done. We have a negative feeling. That is an internal problem, a problem that exists inside our mind and our body. But look what we're doing. We are using outside sources to solve this problem. We are turning to food, TV, shopping, alcohol to solve this problem. And these are external solutions. It is clearly a mismatch. Of course, it's not working. We need an internal solution to solve an internal problem. And that is the crux of what's going on. We are solving our problem the wrong way. It's clearly a mismatch and it's clearly not working. And so we are stuck in this loop. We have a negative feeling, we buffer with an outside source, which brings us temporary pleasure, but that pleasure soon turns into self-hatred, disappointment, anger, which causes us to buffer even more and have even more negative feelings. And we keep continuing and living this loop unconsciously, habitually, over and over and over. So, how do you solve an internal problem? You guessed it. We need an internal solution. Our external sources are just not doing it. An internal problem requires an internal solution. And this is the perfect segue to my next section to actually understand the problem. I'm going to talk about human emotions. And just a hint, this is where you're supposed to get the aha moment. This concept that I'm about to teach you is truly mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing to me. It changed my life. It turned my life around. So pay attention, okay? Some of you are going to think it's mind-blowing. Some of you will agree with me, and some will think it's too obvious and too simple. But you know what? I want you to stick with me and pay attention. This is important. So, when you ask people what they want from life, in fact, if I asked you guys, most of you would say that we want to be happy, that we want peace, that we want to experience love. Most of us are seeking a positive emotion. No one ever says they want to be sad all the time. No one. I've heard no one say that. Yes, some will say, I want to be rich. And some will say, I just want to find my life partner. But if you think about those two answers, wanting to be rich and wanting a life partner, the reason somebody wants to be rich is because they think happiness will come from being rich. They think if only they could find their life partner, they live happily ever after. So at the end of the day, we are all seeking a positive emotion. To the point that we are raised to want positive emotion. Everyone wants us to be successful. Society, our family, culturally, we are conditioned and trained to want to seek only positive emotions and experiences. We dream of success. We want a happily ever after. And guess what? We are doing this with our kids. We are teaching kids that happiness is good. And as parents, we don't want them to feel anything negative. We want to protect them from anything that's negative in life. So much so that we actually teach them to buffer. Oh, Johnny, you had a bad day at work, a bad day at school? Here, let me make you feel better. How about some ice cream? And there you go, the first lesson in buffering negative emotions. That's real. We do this to our kids. It happens at my house. I have twin nephews, and oh my gosh, the buffering that goes on when they fight with each other and one's upset. Yep, it's happening. All right, so moving on, this is the concept I was talking about. Human experience, 50-50. It jumped a slide for me, I apologize. So basically this concept is, imagine this circle and split it in half. On one side, we have the positive emotions, good, happy, peace, love, success, inspiration. And on the other side, there are negative emotions, bad, sad, hate, upset, overwhelm, anxiety. Human experience is such that we are meant to experience 50% positive emotions and 50% negative emotions. Humans are meant to experience that by design. We are meant to be and experience positive and negative. It's part of being human. In fact, we cannot experience true happiness until we have experienced sadness. It has always been like this, and it will always be like this. I like to explain this using a coin. Imagine a coin. It always has two sides to it. There is the heads and the tails. There's always a flip side to the coin. Okay, no matter what denomination that coin is, no matter what country that coin belongs to, it's always going to have two sides to it. There's always going to be a heads and a tails. That country may not call it heads, they may not call it tails, but there's always going to be two sides to that coin. No matter how much you shave that coin down and make it very, very thin, there's always going to be two sides to it. And that's how human nature, humanity is designed. From the beginning of time, we've had both positive experiences and negative experiences. We've had reason to be happy and we've had reason to be sad. There has been tragedies, wars, famines, deaths, losses. And then there has been good stuff: weddings, celebrations, graduations, birthdays, peace treaties. So from the beginning of time, we've had both positive and negative experiences. It's always been 50% positive and 50% negative. Never will there be a time on earth where humans experience only one set of emotions. It's always going to be dual in nature. So, what do you think of this concept? Mind blowing? Not convinced? Too obvious? Too simple? Really? All right, let's take this further. So, if you think it's too obvious that, yes, of course, humanity experienced both sets of emotions, of course, there's always been deaths, of course, there's always been births, of course. What are you telling me that I don't already know? Well, if that is the case, if you think you've already known this, then I want to ask you these questions. Why are we avoiding sadness if we know it exists, if we know it's part of being human? Why are we escaping stress? And why are we running from fear? Why are we teaching our kids only to be happy? Why are we protecting them from negativity? Why? If being human being, if human, if being human means to experience both sets of emotion, the positive and the negative, why is there such a disconnect in life? Why is there such a disconnect in how we train our kids? Why do we refuse to accept the negative emotions? Why do we run? Why do we hide? Why do we escape? And why do we buffer our negative emotions? Why are we seeking instant pleasure to avoid a negative emotion? Food for thought. I would really love to hear your comments on this. So let's take a second to just comment on what you think. Come on. One of you has experienced the aha moment. Like, what are we doing to ourselves? Why do we keep buffering and using TV and alcohol when we're meant to have the whole set of emotions, when we're supposed to have a complete life by experiencing all emotions? Why are we always chasing happiness? Why? Why do we always just want love and peace and happiness? Why not embrace the negative? What is going on with the way we are living our lives? So please comment in the questions. Let's hear what you guys have to say. So, going back to the human experience of 50-50. So the human experience is 50-50. We're supposed to experience both good and bad emotions. But look at what we're doing to ourselves, right? In reality, we refuse to accept these negative emotions. And so because we are not accepting these negative emotions, we are buffering. And then as we talked about earlier, buffering just brings us more negative emotions. Sarah eats because she's stressed, and then Sarah feels bad that she ate. She feels bad about her body. She doesn't like the way she looks. So she feels self-hatred, disappointment, and anger. And now she has more negative emotions. So instead of experiencing 50-50, Sarah is now experiencing and living her life more on the negative side. So instead of being 50-50, Sarah is actually living a more miserable life. So it's 20-80, where 80% of the time she is living in the negative. So, to recap, this is what we're doing. Human experience is 50-50, but because we are buffering and refusing to accept the 50-50 of human experience and human emotions, we are actually magnifying the negative. And so it actually becomes 20-80 for us, where 80% of the time we are spending in the negative and experiencing negative emotions. So we are doing this to ourselves by not accepting who we are as human beings and not allowing ourselves to accept the entirety of human experience. So you can imagine what the solution is, right? We need to learn to experience both the good and the bad. We need to embrace the bad. So what that means is we need to embrace our negative emotions. We need to not run, not hide, not escape, not avoid, and not buffer these negative emotions. We need to accept and embrace these negative emotions. Let's go back to Sarah for a bit. So Sarah realizes she's overweight. So what does she do? She seeks out a diet. She's going to go on a diet. She gets rid of all the junk food in her pantry. She wants to lose weight. She refuses to go out with her friends so she can avoid all the temptations. So she does everything possible to avoid and abstain from overeating. Do you realize what she's doing? Yep, you guessed it. She is seeking an external solution again, which, like we have discussed, is temporary. So, of course, the diet's not going to work. She has to solve the problem internally, right? Right now, she's using willpower. She's going to stay away from the food. If somebody offers her a donut, she's going to say no. But eventually, that willpower is going to run out, right? We just don't have enough willpower to keep resisting and resisting. So again, Sarah is going to fail. She's resorting to an external solution to solve an internal problem. So what do we need for the puzzle to fit? An internal problem requires an internal solution. An internal problem requires an internal solution. So how do we do this? We have to address the root cause, right? The root cause of why we are buffering. We are buffering because we are not accepting 50-50. We need to accept the 50-50 of human experience. Life is both good and bad. We have to be willing to experience the bad. We have to be willing to embrace and accept the negative emotions. So now the next obvious question is, how do we do that? And in order to answer how we accept and embrace negative emotions, we need to know, what is a feeling? So a feeling actually starts in our mind with a thought, okay? A thought then gets translated into a feeling in our body. all that a feeling is a set of sensations and vibrations that are inside our body that we experience. A really good example is when somebody is really, really angry. They are seething in anger, and you can literally see their body vibrating with that anger. That's a very obvious example of feeling an emotion, of feeling the anger, right? Now imagine what it's like to feel anxiety, right? Some experience a dull headache, some have chest tightness, body tenses up, heart starts racing, your pulse starts racing, your hands are clammy, you may feel jittery, and your stomach may feel queasy. So these are all sensations and vibrations in our body. And that's all a feeling is. It's completely benign. It's harmless. The only thing that I can use to describe a negative feeling, that it's an uncomfortable sensation in our body. So what do we need to do to experience a negative emotion? We have to be willing to experience discomfort in our body. That's it. I know it sounds easy. I've put it very simplistically, but that's really all it is. A feeling is a set of sensations and vibrations in our body, and we have to be willing to experience those sensations. Yes, they're uncomfortable, but we have to be willing to experience the discomfort. The more we experience these sensations, the easier it becomes to realize that that's all they are, sensations in our body. And that is a negative emotion. We are running away from nothing. Okay. But in order to do this, it requires awareness, what we're thinking and what our body is experiencing. It requires an understanding of how the brain works and how the mind works. It's all a lot of science and easy to understand science, how thoughts are created, how those thoughts translate into feelings, and how those feelings are just sensations in our body, and how over time, the more patience you have with yourself and the more you practice and practice and practice, it gets easier and you address the problem internally. You address the root cause. Instead of seeking an external temporary solution, you get to address the root cause, solve the problem internally and permanently. And it just requires awareness, a lot of self-awareness. The way we do this is by journaling, writing down all your thoughts, and then seeing what those thoughts are creating. It requires us to be mindful and meditative. And for me, it required coaching. And I think coaching is an answer, along with journaling and meditating. So we talked about the results we get when we when we don't face our feelings, when we use external buffers to solve our problems. But when we actually face our feelings, the results we get is astounding. We get to overcome the urge to buffer. We no longer need food or TV or alcohol or shopping. We just overcome that urge because we are facing our feelings. And because we are facing our feelings and overcoming the urge, we reach our goals. Sarah loses her weight. We make progress in our business. What does usually hold back from achieving success in our business? Overwhelm, anxiety, stress, doubt. And just imagine overcoming those negative feelings, actually facing those feelings and not turning to food for comfort. We get to keep going. And this way we make progress, we change our habits, we change our life. And we change our life by solving our problems internally. Excuse me. All right. So basically, once we figure this out, we can set a goal, we take action to achieve that goal, and whatever emotions come in the way, we face those feelings. The more we face those feelings, we can continue to take action and we achieve our goal. And then we rinse and repeat the same thing, set new goals, and achieve new goals. So it is possible to make permanent change to achieve our goals by solving our problems internally. So, coaching changed my life. I was stuck in a miserable, endless loop like Sarah was. I was able to change my thoughts, manage my feelings, and achieve my goals. I've lost 40 plus pounds, 40, oh my gosh. I have lost 40 pounds. I'm still losing and I'm getting to my goal weight. I'm also a strong believer in intermittent fasting, and I've been able to fast up to 60 hours. And that's just the way I've been able to change my life, among many other things. So I want to show you what my life looked like before coaching. I used to get up just in time for work. I experienced stress at work and I stress ate. I was so glad when the rep brought in a box of donuts. It made my day, right? I stress ate and then I came home and I would be so disappointed in myself for caving into that donut. And so that disappointment just brought that F it feeling, and I would eat some more. And I tried diets and I failed. Again, I was resorting to external solutions. And so, of course, it didn't work. And then sometimes I gave up on myself and I stopped trying. And other times I would try again, but it always resulted in failure. So then I found a life coach. Life after coaching for me looks like this. Today, I woke up at 4:30. I had time to meditate, journal, I self-coached. I also have time to create what I call focus time, where I turn off my notifications, I turn off social media, I put my phone away, I put everything away and just focus on my mind and what I want to create. I have goals that I want to achieve, and I make time for those goals in this focus time. And then I go to work. I experience the stress, no donuts necessary. I experience those vibrations in my body, and I'm like, I can do this. I'm happier. I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I push myself mentally and physically. I eat healthy. And I'm doing all this because I want to. This is the life I want to live deliberately and intentionally. Intentionally. I'm not using willpower. This is what I imagined life to be, and I'm living it. I am no longer stuck in this endless loop of self misery, this self created misery that just turned into more misery. And most importantly, and this is one of my favorite slides, I take time for myself. I invest in myself. I take time for true self care. And I still have a coach. That coach helps me process my thoughts. I talk to her on a weekly basis. And I talked earlier about having my own back. And what I mean by that is, all along, for all these years, I have committed to my patients, my family, to everyone else but me. Even my car. My car got routine oil changes. I committed to that because I wanted to maintain the health of my car. But whenever I wanted to do something for myself, whenever I wanted to lose weight or change or get up early and meditate and journal, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have my back. I wouldn't keep promises to myself. But coaching and making time for myself has allowed me to have my own back. I keep promises I make to myself. I follow through on commitments I make to myself. And I have to be honest, I tried journaling and meditating on my own before because I thought I could do it without coaching. I actually had thought coaching was all woo-woo before. But once I took on a life coach, I learned the value of investing in a life coach and investing time in myself. And it has been life changing. So, like I was saying, meditation and journaling didn't work for me initially because I was back to the problem of needing willpower to actually do it, to make time for it. And that habit didn't last very long. So, for me, coaching was actually the quickest way. It helped me get to the root cause and make permanent changes where I did not need willpower. So, to summarize, we have an internal problem and we need an internal solution. We have to learn to embrace all our emotions. We have to feel all our feelings, even the negative ones. And we have to learn to know ourselves. That is so important. An internal problem requires an internal solution, so we have to go inside of ourselves. We have to journal, we have to meditate, and we have to get coached. So, what is coaching, right? It's a buzzword. It's certainly been around for the last couple of years. I want to tell you what it is and what it isn't. It's not therapy. It's not sitting in a therapist's office and discussing your childhood and what went wrong and what didn't go right and how your your childhood is holding you back. It's none of that. Coaching is focusing on your mind right now. What's going on in your mind right now? What are the thoughts that are holding you back? And yes, some of those belief systems are lifelong that we've held since childhood, but the focus is on now and how to create the future that you want to create. So it is not therapy. And there's also different kinds of coaching. The coaching that I'm talking about is causal coaching. It's getting to the root cause of the problems. It is going internal to solve internal problems. On the other hand, an accountability coach is one that, let's say you want to lose weight, they tell you what diet to go on, they tell you what to eat, and they tell you how much to sleep, and they tell you what to exercise. Again, it's an external problem, external solution for an internal problem. So what you want is a coach who specializes in causal coaching or mindset coaching. So we can figure out the root cause of the problem and then solve it internally. So I also want to make a note here that you notice the degrees I've had. I have a bachelor's, I have an MBA, I have a medical degree, I have a wound certification, and I have an obesity medicine certification. I'm not trying to boast here and tell you all that I've done. It actually means nothing because I was still unhappy and buffering. What I want to point out is with all this education, nobody taught me about emotional health. Nobody showed me what it meant to be emotionally healthy and to manage my mind and my emotions. I found coaching to be the only field where we actually learn about what it means to be emotionally healthy. And that is so key because you can have a life that on the outside looks good. You can have a good career, but you can still be stuck and be living the same habits and patterns over and over again. So, coaching helps you create the life you want. It shows you your mind so that you're not repeating the same day over and over again and living in misery. So, what coaching can do is you get to know your mind and your brain intimately. And that sounds very scary at first, especially for us who have been buffering with so many layers that we don't even recognize our true self. But this work is important. Being able to go inside and face what lies within is so important because once we clean all that mess up, all that mental drama, there's so much power in your mind. There's so much that we are capable of. So we learn how the human mind and brain works. We get to know us and how to change us. And then when we do all this, we get to live the life that we want to live. So with coaching, you get to focus on you. You get to figure you out, what's holding you back, how to face your life, how to face your emotions, and how to move forward. It's an investment in you, only you. You get to make yourself a priority. You get to focus on you, and you get to invest in you. So I'm going to put a little plug in here for me. I am really good at what I do. I am a wound doctor and I'm really good at healing. All the other doctors send me wounds they're not able to heal. And I'm able to heal those wounds simply because I believe in the body's ability to heal itself. Our body is so powerful and has amazing healing properties. I just provide the wound the environment it needs so the body can heal. And because I believe that, I am a good wound doctor. But I'm an even better coach because I believe in the power of our mind. And all I have to do is show you your mind, and you will realize the power that lies within. And so you get to change your life. You get to figure out what's got you stuck, and you get to solve your life the way you want to. So I am really good as a wound doctor, but I'm an even better coach because I know the power of our mind. So if you are stuck, if you have a problem, if you are repeating the same vicious life over and over again, I can help you. I can help you find a solution. So let me help you. I'm going to tell you about my coaching program. My coaching program is 3 months long. It's weekly sessions, one-on-one, 45 minutes, where we talk about you and your mind. I also send you weekly videos. They're short videos about the tools and the hacks of how our mind and brain works. And you have daily access to me. So it's a 3-month program, weekly coaching, weekly videos, and daily access to me. And I over deliver. I coach you hard. I get to the bottom of things to help you figure out the root cause, to solve the problem internally. And we get to make permanent changes, changes you want to make to create the life that you want. So this program is actually $2,500 for 3 months. And in that, you get weekly coaching, weekly videos, and daily access to me. But for today, only for today, for the next 24 hours, this offer is $14.97 for 3 months. That's right, $14.97 for 3 months. It's a steal. You get weekly coaching, you get weekly videos, and you get daily access to me so we can show you what your mind is doing and how you can make it work for you. All you need to do is email me at silky.coaching@gmail.com. We'll have a consult. We'll make sure we are a right fit for each other, and then we start coaching, and you get to be and live the life that you want. So for today only, it's $14.97 for 3 months. Weekly videos, weekly coaching, and daily access to me. So here I'm going to take questions. So I am going to stop sharing the screen and see if there's any questions in the question section. One last slide though. If you've had no aha moments, and I have a hard time believing that, but if you've had no aha moments, I want you to email me your address with the code BOOK. You're going to email me at silky.coaching@gmail.com. Once you email me, I will send you the book. And if you are still here, if you've stayed till the end, I want you to email me with the code FREE, and I will sign you up for a free coaching session with me. All right, so let's stop sharing the slides and I will go ahead and take any questions that you may have. Okay, so let's see. Uh, Lack the toolkit to deal with negative emotions. Um, So it's a lot of journaling. It is, you have to take time for yourself. I'm trying to understand that question. If you want to type it again and explain it a little bit, that would be great. And then somebody saying that they don't have time for self care. And this is where we need to decide how important is time for ourselves. Once you know that you have the power to do anything you want, why wouldn't you take the time for yourself? Why wouldn't you get coaching? Why wouldn't you take time out for self care? So, to me, once you just realize the value of going into your mind and all the powers that lie within, it all just falls naturally. Then you want to make time for yourself and for your self care and to invest in yourself. Um, what else? Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Lack the toolkit to deal with negative emotions. Okay, that makes more sense. Um, let's see. What will it cost if you don't take time for self care? Well, I was a living example. I kept living in misery. I kept repeating the same life over and over again, where I would go to work, eat donuts, gain more weight, and then eat more donuts because I felt bad for eating the donuts earlier in the day. So, this is the consequence. So, at some point, we have to realize what we're doing to ourselves and just get help, right? I'm telling you, I'm a wound doctor. And so you come to me for wounds. So if you have a problem with mental health, and I'm not talking about depression or bipolar or anything like that, just normal mental health issues that we have never been taught how to deal with, you go to a life coach. So come to me and I'll certainly help you. What else? So, but are you going to tell us how? I need to know how. How to what? How to take care of myself. Let's see. That is a great question, and I thought I had answered that. I want you to take care of yourself by investing in yourself, by realizing the value of your mind, by realizing that you can accomplish anything if you just take the time to invest in yourself. So the first step is to know and realize that you matter, that you need to prioritize yourself. You need to take time for yourself. All right. All right. So it looks like that's it for questions. I do want you guys to email me if, like I asked before, and there's somebody who wants to know about a mini session. So yes, I call a consult a mini session. So if you want to talk about how to coach with me, just email me and we'll schedule a consult. In that consult, we talk about what is possible, what is going on right now, and what solutions are possible, and how we can actually make that happen. And so, in that mini session or consult, We'll figure out a solution for you. We'll make sure that we are a right fit, and then we can start coaching. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate the time you took out of your busy day to meet me here today. You know how to reach me, silky.coaching@gmail.com. I'm here for any questions you may have. And in the next few days, I will be sending you a brief summary of what we talked about today. All right. Talk to you guys later. And let's see, it says, great presentation. Thanks for sharing the human experience concept. Wonderful. All right, talk to you all later. Bye bye.